We have here a multiple choice question about inflection points. The question says, the graph of a derivative function f dash is shown above. The graph of the original function is most likely to have inflection points at x equals a and x equals 0, x equals b and c, or x equals d only. So the question basically is, where would the inflection points of this function be? But keeping in mind that the graph shown here is the derivative function, f dash. Okay, so firstly, what are inflection points? Inflection points occur when the concavity of a curve changes. What does that mean? The concavity, remember, is given by the sine of the second derivative. Okay, so when the sign of the second derivative changes from positive to negative or from negative to positive, then we would have an inflection point. Then and only then. So we do require that the second derivative should be 0 at that point, but the fact that the second derivative is 0 is actually not enough. Okay, it's not enough to justify that there is a point of inflection. We do need to justify that the sign changes from positive to negative or negative to positive. That's the sign of the second derivative that we're looking at there. So here we have a graph of the first derivative. So what can we say about the sign of the second derivative by looking at the first derivative? Well, the second derivative is the derivative of the derivative. So looking at each section of the graph, the derivative of this function here is clearly negative. Okay, it's negative all the way up to here, okay, because this graph is going downhill, well, excluding perhaps this point here. Okay, but definitely nowhere in this region does it change from negative to positive. But at B here, we can see in this region, the derivative of the derivative is now positive because we're going uphill, and then changes again to become negative. So where does the sign change? Well, that would be at this point here, changing from negative to positive, and at this point here, changing from positive to negative. So our answer should be, at x equals b and x equals c, we have points of inflection.